we are. So the theme of our first class for 2025, I thought it would be rather nice to use a Sanskrit word, Akasha, which means space. So in yoga and in Vedic philosophy, we always say that in order to create healing, we need to create more space. Because when we create more space in our system, then things have the opportunity to balance and to go back to the homeostasis, or the healing state in which we should all be in. So this session is all about creating space, and we're going to do some really gentle visualization, breathing, and a little bit of movements or visualization around the joints before we go into our yoga nidra. So the Sanskrit word for space is Akasha, and it comes from a lovely word which is Chidakash, which means the absolute or the divine mystery. So there is this idea that space, which doesn't necessarily mean it's empty, it's often referred to as being fullness. It's the point before manifestation occurs. It is the absolute, or it's the divine mystery. And if you don't want to think about the divine, or that doesn't mean anything to you, that's fine too. Just know that we are going to be working on space and looking at healing this morning. So I'm going to invite you to lie in a comfortable position and just take a moment or two to think about the posture in which you're lying. So it's always a good idea to start with the knees bent, because this just helps the back to settle and to relax. And then I also suggest you have something under your head just to help the back of the neck to lengthen. And you might like to just look up at the belly button to check that you are lying straight. And you might even like to lift your tailbone and then lower it again, just to open up the back. So we're placing ourselves mindfully on our support. And your support might be a mat on the floor, or it might be a bed or a sofa. And then just take a moment or two to think about your legs. And if they are tired from having the knees bent, you can just gently bring the knees together. But think about this connection of the soles of the feet on your support. And then bring your awareness to your arms and your hands. And just feel where it would be most comfortable to place them. So classically, the arms are slightly away from the body with the palms turned up, so there's a space under the armpit. But if that doesn't work for you, you can turn the palms down or have the arms closer, or you can rest the palms on the belly. And then take a moment or two to arrive in your body. And just feel that you are welcoming yourself, that you're able to come home to your body. Just acknowledging that you are here in your space, in your body. Just observing the weight of your head, the length of your spine. And then very slowly, just roll the head from side to side as slowly as you can, observing the neck on the opposite side to which you rolled your head. So as you roll your head to the left, just observe how the neck is on the right. And when you roll your head to the right, observe the neck on the left. Just do this slowly a few times, resting out when you need to, making the observation with kindness, without judgments, but just exploring sensation. And then center the head again. Take a moment or two to observe how you are feeling emotionally, mentally, physically. Again, bringing this sense of curiosity and non-judgment to your observation. And then become aware of your breath. And if it's not comfortable for you to observe the breath, just observe the movements of the belly. And then see if you can begin to allow the breathing rhythm to slow down without any strain. And if you can, breathe through the nose. If you can't, that's fine too. And then just to remind us of healthy breathing, I'm going to take one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And we're just going to breathe into the hand that's on the belly, slow and low. And think of the breath being gentle. You might like to imagine you've got the feather under your nostrils and you're not even moving it. So the breath is subtle. It's not that you're taking a huge deep in-breath. It's a subtle in-breath, but it's low down in the body. Breathing into that hand on the belly. But don't force anything. And then I'm going to give you a breathing ratio, if that's comfortable for you. So I'd like you to inhale for a slow count of 3. And then exhale for a slow count of 5. So you're making your out breath slightly longer than your in breath. And then release the breath, come back to normal breathing. And then we're going to hum the breath out for up to 5 breaths. So breathe in through the nose. Hum the breath out with the lips together. In your own breathing rhythm and your tone, your own tone. And when you're ready, come back to normal breathing and just observe if that has subtly changed anything in the mind, body, the breath. Just feeling you are releasing and relaxing more and more on every exhalation. So when we hum or make sound, it has some really positive effects on our whole being. So in terms of science, humming helps to increase nitric oxide, which is a great antiviral protector. And it also helps to tone the vagal nerve, which helps us to come out of the stress response. But in terms of yoga, humming or sound or certain mantras help us to vibrate at our own natural positive rhythm. So it's about raising our vibration in a positive way. And now think about space around you. So from lying, just observe the space around you, even with your eyes closed. Just think about space. So within your room or wherever you are, there are objects, but there's also space. So just think about this space. And then think about space inside you. Space, for example, in the joints, which we're going to assist with soon. And then think of space around your thoughts. So observe the pause before the next thought arises, if you can. If you can't, that's fine too. And now think about space with the breath. So bring your awareness back to your breath. Remember, if you're not comfortable to do that, you can just think about the movements of the belly. But I'd like you just to observe the natural pause after the in-breath. Don't hold that too long. And then the natural pause after the out-breath before the in-breath naturally arises again. So you breathe in. Slowly, there's a natural pause. You exhale. And then just drop into that pause before the in-breath naturally arises again. So observe those two pauses after the in-breath, after the exhalation. And then release the breath. Come back to normal. And again, just take a moment or two to observe how you are feeling emotionally, mentally, physically, energetically. And just see if you can allow all this to be as it is, so you're not resisting anything. Even pain and fatigue are allowed within this space. And then, providing you don't have back issues, you might like to stretch out one leg then the other, pushing away with one heel then the other, and have some space between the legs. And then take one knee, then the other over the belly, and just rock out the spine from side to side. And then come back to the center. Have one hand on each knee. We're just going to think about making some space now in the hips. So with the hands either around the knees or under the knees, take an in-breath. And as you breathe in, push the knees away from you so the elbows straighten. And then open the knees wide. As you exhale, bring the knees in towards you and together. So we're circling the knees apart and together. And what we're doing here is we're creating space in the hip joints. But when we think about space, although we're working physically, we're actually always working on all our layers to create space. So in yoga philosophy, there's something called the Panchamaya Kosha, which is the 5 different layers of the body. They go all the way up to the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the bliss or the spiritual body. But when we work on one layer, we work on all of them. So we're working physically here. When we work with the breath, we're working more with the energy body. And now reverse that circle. So bring the knees in towards you as you exhale, open them wide, and circle the knees the other way. If you're not sure, you can just look up at the screen, but hopefully my voice is guiding you so you don't have to be disturbed too much. You can just do the movement. Most important is to remember to rest out when you need to. So work with kindness, work with consideration for your energy levels, and rest out if you need to. And then when you're ready, drop the feet hip width apart to the floor or your support. Take the arms out like a cross. And we're just going to do some spinal twisting with the breath. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, take the knees over to the left. They might not come all the way down, that's fine. Breathe in, come back to center. Breathing out, the knees come to the right. They might not come all the way down, and do this within your own breathing rhythm. Breathe in and center. Breathe out. And then roll the head to look over the opposite shoulder. So the head goes in the opposite direction from the knees, and the shoulders remain aligned on your support. So moving with the breath, inhaling to center the head of the knees, exhaling as knees and head go in opposite direction. And if the knees want to come all the way down, that's fine. If not, that's also fine. And you can, of course, pad them, so you could put a towel or a cushion underneath. Next time the knees come towards or down to the left side, the head on the right, just rest here. And allow your awareness to fix around your back. Just drifting around the back, seeing how the back is. And feeling on every exhalation, you are releasing more and more into the posture. And remember that when we rest, we create space. And when we create space, healing can happen. So in a good yoga practice, we need to put lots of resting pauses in as well as movement. Keeping your awareness in the back if the mind's wandered. And then come back to the center with the head and the knees. And then come to the other side. So knees to the right, head to the left, and resting here. And again, feeling that the awareness is just drifting around the back. You might notice the back is different on this side from how it was on the opposite side, and that's fine. Just observe whether there's pain or pleasure, relaxation or tension. Just allow it all. Just observing neutrally without judgment. Feeling yourself relaxing deeper and deeper into the posture on every exhalation. Just allowing the out breath to help you to let go. And then when you are ready, come back to center and bring the knees again over the belly, just rocking out from side to side to counterpose that twisting. And then drop the feet to the mat, knees bent, and then stretch out the legs. Come back to Shavasana, the relaxation posture. And we're just going to think now about creating space in our joints. So just bring your awareness to your ankles. And then if it's comfortable for you, we're just going to rotate the feet so that we are circling the feet, just to bring a little bit of movement and space into the ankle joints. So make this movement slow. Do everything slowly in yoga. Notice if one side feels different from the other. And then we're going to go around the other way, the opposite direction. And then pause. And then breathing in, bring your toes towards you to flex your feet, feeling back of the calves. And then exhale and point the feet away from you. And just do that a few times with the breath, working into the ankles and the backs of the legs. And then relax. Just keep your awareness in your ankles. And we're going to think about our knees next. So when you're ready, bend one knee, then the other over the belly. Drop the feet beside you, beside the hips. Now, if your energy levels are very low, you might only want to do this once, or you might like to just visualize it. Otherwise, you can do this up to 3 times. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in and gently open the legs to bring the legs up towards the ceiling. If that's too much for you, keep the legs low and the knees soft. And then exhale, we're going to bend the knees back into the belly. And as I say, if that's enough for you, then rest out. Otherwise, you can try that twice more. Inhaling to lift the legs up, opening the backs of the knees. Exhaling, knees come back to the belly. Just opening and closing those knee joints. And then drop the feet to the mat. and stretch out the legs. Now, we've already done some movement with the hips this morning. So what I'd like you to do now is to visualize the ankle joints and take 3 slow mindful breaths there, visualizing space. And then visualize the knees. Take 3 slow breaths there, visualizing space coming into the knees. And then finally, 3 slow breaths at the hip joints, visualizing space coming in there. And when you're ready and you've done that, I'd like you to come up to a comfortable sitting position. So I can then see on the screen when you've finished. Now, if your energy levels are such that you don't want to come sitting, you can just visualize the next sequence. Otherwise, we're just going to work through a few more joints just to bring this idea of space into the joints. But as I say, if you are very tired and you need to keep lying down, that's fine too. You can just visualize this. So we're going to start with the wrists. So we're just going to slowly rotate through the wrists. We do a lot of screen work or computer work. This really helps. So just go one way, then the other. And then just shake out the wrist, shake out the hands. Now, the next movement we're going to do is quite dynamic. So just do it once or just visualize if it's too much for you. It's something one of my first yoga teachers showed me. And then recently I had some shoulder problems and I was given exactly this by an osteopath. And it's been really I've had dramatic healing from it. So this is for both the elbows and the shoulders. So we're going to make our arms like an L. So the upper arm comes out at shoulder level, and then we bend at the elbows and we point the hands up towards the ceiling. And then all we do is rotate the arms down, but we keep the elbows up and then come back again. As I say, that's quite dynamic. So if that's enough for you, just do it once. Otherwise, you can do it a couple of times. And this has completely cured a bad shoulder for me. And then when you finish, just shake out the arms. And then something we should be doing every day is some shoulder rolls. So fingertips to shoulders, just roll the shoulders a few times just to loosen up the trapezius muscle at the back. And also remembering that if we are running a chronic stress response, the upper part of the body tightens. We want to remind the body it's safe and it's okay to loosen this again. You can take your hands away if you like and can continue to roll. And then drop the shoulders. And then we're going to inhale, lift the shoulders up to the ears, exhale through the mouth. And just do that a few times in your own breathing rhythm, just to remind the shoulders to come away from the ears. And then we're going to take the left ear to the left shoulder, center, right ear to right shoulder, and center. Just do that a few times to stretch out the neck, to release the neck, release any stress and tension. Come back to center. Take an in-breath and roll the head to look over the right shoulder. Release the breath. Inhale again. As you breathe out, look over a little further. Inhale and see if you can look a little further more. And then come back to the center. So in this way, we're using the breath to help us to increase the mobility in the neck. So breathing in, breathing out, look over the left shoulder. Breathe in, breathe out, come over a little further, keep the body facing forward. Breathe in, breathe out, and come over a little further. Come back to center. And then just close your eyes. And like we did when we were lying down, I'm going to take 3 breaths, visualizing space in the wrists. 3 breaths, visualizing space in the elbows. And then 3 breaths, visualizing space in the shoulders. And when you are ready, please come down, ready for our final Yoga Nidra relaxation. So using any warm layers, cushions, blankets, eye masks, anything you need to make yourself comfortable and cozy. And of course, as always, you can lie on a bed or a sofa, or you can sit. And I'll just give you a moment or two. I'm just going to turn off the recording and then turn it on again so that I can post up the Yoga Nidra separately. So you might just hear that while you're getting ready.